Good morning, wherever you are, and however you're listening. This is your Wednesday wrap up. Not Bo today. Herb sliding over. Hosted this morning, and Keith has been happy enough, or gracious enough, I should say, to jump in and fill in. And Keith, how are you doing this morning, sir?
Herb, I'm doing great. I'm sure your audience is concerned about what happened to Bo when he looked like this when you went live. Bo was on vacation. You come back from vacation, apparently, looking like me.
Yeah, well, Bo has already sent me pictures, and he's out on a yacht, so Bo's fine. Bo is doing just fine.
I did see a picture of him and a bunch of people on a raft the other day, so I don't. Yes. Hopefully, they're all doing well. So good to be here, though. I'm happy to be here with you today.
Yes, sir. And like I said, I appreciate you jumping in. The thought of doing the show all morning by myself, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. So I appreciate it. What's up, Zach? National Make a Gift Day.
Oh,
okay.
Make a gift. I can't do that.
Yes. Nah, I will buy you something. But,
right.
And what's up, Win? Good morning to you. Now, we have a lot of national stuff that we are going to cover. But because of the conversation we had before we got on there, I did want to give you at least 5 minutes to tell us why you're wanting Alabama to lose this weekend, who you need to win, and what you think of this chaotic situation going on with the college football playoffs.
Unfortunately, with me being a Miami Hurricane fan, a team who in my mind, is probably as talented as anybody be ahead of them, but they don't play like it every Sunday. They put themselves in a position where they're only path to the playoff. They're 12 now, but we know 11 and 12 are going to get dropped for the group of five in the ACC or the highest ranked conference, the conference champion left. So they got to get to 10, and the only way they can get to 10 is for Alabama to lose to Georgia and drop into 11 or 12, which I think is what would happen. Miami should not be in this position. They should not have two losses in the ACC. They're certainly a better team than Louisville. SMU is a good football team, but they've got 4 losses, I think. They should never have been put in this position. They're so talented, and they played badly at the end of the two games that they lost. And they can't. I don't want to hear. You and I talked about the arguments at 12 and who's the 12th best team. And if we expand, who's the 16th best team, who's the 24th best team. If you don't win the games, you don't get in. I know there's going to be an argument. There has been an argument with the matchup and the head-to-head win with Notre Dame. But the eye test tells me Notre Dame's a better team than Miami right now. I mean, I think Notre Dame's the 3rd best team in the country as they're playing today. So the committee wants to have this. I think they want to have this balance between head-to-head play, overall resume, but they're inconsistent in what they do. I'll be very honest with you off this topic, similar to this topic, but off this topic just a little bit. If they wanted to be consistent, they do to Ole Miss what they did to Florida State 2 years ago.
Right, which I honestly thought was a chance. I think until Ole Miss got the OC back.
Yeah,
Charlie Weis Jr. And then hired Golding is
yep. That was
which had to be part of the fact.
That was a smart move for them, and I think if you'd seen Ole Miss drop yesterday a couple of spots, even I think you would have seen a signal that they're willing to drop them all the way out because they lost their head coach, but they didn't move, and I think so. They're solidly in no matter what happens this weekend, obviously. So, and I think that's the right thing to do. I don't think you should punish that team for their coach leaving. And 2 years ago, not to bring up an old argument, there's no way Florida State, undefeated in a Power 4 conference, should have been left out of there because their quarterback got hurt. They earned their way in.
Yeah. Well, the problems years ago was they had 5 power conferences in 4 spots. That was just dumb planning from the beginning. What they were doing was surviving every year. And then the Florida State argument having said, okay, I guess we'll expand that when they should have had to do it. So, and the whole BAM argument and even the conference championships, conference championships are about to go away, it feels like, because there's just the benefit. The only team that's benefiting from this year's conference championship really feels like is Duke and maybe BYU if they win. But if you're Indiana and Ohio State, Indiana, you can't go any higher. Indiana, if you didn't play in this conference championship, you're 2, right? If you win it, maybe you flip-flop to 1. If you lose it, do they drop you? You lost to the number 1 team in the country, especially if it's a game. So
the loser of that game, unless it's a blowout, still going to be in the top 4, right? So
and think about Georgia. Georgia's at what, 3? If Georgia did not play, right, they would be 3. The only way they can move to 2 is if they drop one of those 2, and like we said, in the blowout. But let's say it's a 3 game in the Big Ten, right? 1 and 2 stay. Georgia is not playing the SEC championship. They stay at 3. They win the SEC championship. They stay at 3. They lose, then they can drop. So now this game has become a no win. There's all these outcomes, and it's like they're only could be bad.
Your team probably is the perfect example of why it's bad to play. An example of a circumstance where it's bad to play in a championship game because you can't help yourself. I mean, you can move up a spot or 2, but if you lose, you're going to be out. So you'd be better off sitting home this weekend because you'd probably be guaranteed to be in.
Yeah, that's why those people, the teams in the sweet spot of the 5 to 8 right now that already have a home playoff game and that are not in their championship games.
Yeah.
They're in the best spot. So that's why, it's just, again, BYU, I think, and Duke, the best 2 for the conference championship and then the group of 5s. Everyone else is like, we could skip this weekend and just be fine, First team to win, first team to score in Indiana, Ohio State wins, and they call the rest of the game. It's all right. You either lost by 7 or you lost by 3, and that looks better for your polls than anything else, So
I don't even know if I'm going to know who the best team is in Indiana, Ohio State, because Ohio State's coming off a big emotional, win against Michigan. Finally beats Michigan. If they lose this week, does it mean Indiana's better? I'm going to tell you no, because this game really is irrelevant to them. I mean, they're going to be in the top 4 unless they look atrocious, which isn't going to happen.
Right. And that's the thing. I think they keep it close. And I think if you're down later and you don't have a chance at winning, all of a sudden, let's say Ohio State's up, 10.
Yeah.
Does Indiana get to a point where like, well, this game can't really help us. Let's go conservative, keep it close, stretch out the clock. If we get a late score to make it look close, then we're fine. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Both those teams are clearly in, and they should both get a bye based on their regular seasons.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You're not going to see teams add new wrinkles.
What's up, Raj?
Like that, right? I mean, they're not going to show you their whole playbook.
Exactly. I mean, this game, Ohio State didn't even make it last year and won the whole thing. So the game has been irrelevant. There's no, like you said, you shouldn't open up the playbook. You should let it ride. So
great point.
Anyway, I know we both have our shows later today where we will cover this more in depth. You said yours is at 5 my time Central.
It'd be 6 your time.
Eastern.
7 p.m. Eastern, right?
7 Eastern. I'm sorry. Yeah, 7 Eastern. So we'll definitely check you out. And then Raj and I will be on tonight at 8 p.m. our time. We'll actually have a Georgia fan and we'll break down all this too. So
your show live on Facebook or just YouTube?
Both. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Send me a link later so I can share the show. I'll be happy to do that.
We'll do. Yes, sir. We appreciate it. And I'll be around, I think, when yours is on. So I'll click on it and say what's up and everything. So
Pop in.
I had to get in a little bit of college talk.
We like to bash the SEC elitists on my show, so pop in.
Bring it on. We had a show last year where we had a talk with a Michigan guy after they won the championship, and we told them Alabama's still, the more hated than Michigan. And he was like, "What?" I was like, "All right, man, it's just true." So, Michael, good to see you, man. Always happy to have you pop in, man. Appreciate you. Good stuff over at Kicking Outing too. All right, let's get into the NFL. And Bo was like, "Here's a lot of stuff you could talk about, pick and choose." I think we're gonna start with the fact that neither one of the teams that played in the Super Bowl, are looking really good at all right now. He left us a clip for what's going on with Sirianni. Of course,
be disappointed.
To clarify what you said earlier about evaluating everything, so does that mean you are evaluating, like changing the play call?
No, we're not changing the play call.
Okay.
But we will evaluate everything, and that's what this weekend we'll have another little mini bye, and I think that's the. another short week, short week that leads to a long weekend where we'll evaluate everything. But again, like I said, after that, it's never just about one person, right? You win as a team, you lose as a team, and you try to evaluate everything, win, lose, or draw, and get better from it.
They don't play as a team. That offense, I said this a lot, Herb, the last couple of weeks on a bunch of shows, including my own, that the Eagles offense has no plan at all, it seems. I watch the Patriot offense, and I watch Josh McDaniel, and he'll run plays that he knows aren't going anywhere to set up plays later. But the Eagles offense doesn't do that. It seems like, okay, I haven't got the ball to AJ enough. I haven't got the ball to Devontae enough.
Yes.
I got, now I got to give the ball to Saquon. That's their whole offense, is keeping people happy, it feels like. Instead of having a real plan to play out through the course of the game. And they're not going to repeat this way. I don't want to overreact, but this feels more like 2 years ago with the Eagles than last year.
For sure. Yeah.
They fell apart at the end.
Yeah. I don't feel like that's an overreaction. I look at this this team built as a run-first team, and you got Saquon to 2,000 yards last year. And you look at some of their games, and Saquon's got 10 touches.
It's crazy.
And I'm thinking, what's even the point? And now you get AJ, and I want to say the 2 games where AJ had, his 100 yards or whatever, they lost both. I know they lost the last one. I'd have to go look up the other one, but it's very clear that they come out and they have a plan. And look, Jalen Hurts is, to me, a good passer at times, but he's not a volume passer. He's not the guy you want throwing 30 times a game. You use your run, set up your pass. That's why you paid for those guys. And I understand you want to keep AJ Brown happy, but is he happy when they lose and he gets 100? What do you have? 132 and 2 touches last? Like,
and one of his best games.
Is this what the deal is?
It's nuts. I don't understand what their thinking is, and I can't. I'm not a big Nick Sirianni fan anyway. I mean, he was on the hot seat 2 years ago, and I really thought they should have dumped him then because of the issues they had in the locker room. And
he's very immature.
What's that?
He's very immature.
Yeah, I feel exactly that. I don't know what he was talking about in that clip. I mean, that could have put different clothes on him. I feel like I'm listening to Mike McDaniel, for crying out loud. But
Roger's a Fins fan. He'll love that one too.
They're going to make the playoffs,
right.
But what are they going to do? This feels like 2 years ago where they lose to a Tampa Bay Bucks or somebody in the first round.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think it's a fix. Like I said, there's just a huge disconnect in what they want to do and what their plan is. And like you said, it's almost like, hey, here's today's game plan. It's like, get the ball to AJ. I'm like, where's the rest of the plan? Like, where's the adjustment? It's like, what do we do?
The game plan can't be, I'm going to keep this guy happy today or this half. That is the game plan. And you touched on it with Saquon. How do you have the best running back in football? One of the best weapons in football overall, because he catches the ball. He does everything. He had a historic season last year, and he's like, you don't give him any touches. He's got to touch the ball 20 times a game, at least. Yes. However, I don't care how, but he's got to touch the ball 20 times. And I don't know if he's done that, but a couple of times all year.
I've seen several 10 carry, 1 catch games, and I'm thinking, like you said, if it's 20, I need 15 carries and 5 catches, from Saquon. He didn't lose anything from last year to this year. Like, did he lose a step? Maybe. But he hasn't had enough touches for us to know. But it's almost like they run the ball once with him, 2-yard gain. All right, no more until the next quarter. Yeah. I'm thinking, okay.
So you got your touches. We'll talk to you after that.
So, yeah, it's interesting. Alex, for sure, praying for your little girl, man, of course.
Without a doubt.
Quality swan song for Joe Flacco.
Oh, wow. Quality, I wouldn't put in there, buddy. Quality and Joe Flacco don't necessarily go hand in hand. He's been a fine quarterback, but, he's done. Yeah. He's not leading any.
And that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, that's what was weird about the Brown situation. I thought there was 0% chance he finished the year starting for them. Now I didn't think he'd go to another team, but I just thought, like, he's not at this age, he's not playing 17 games.
No.
So He did well for Cincy, hold it down until Burrow, which, by the way, we'll talk about that division later, but that division is terrible.
Danny.
What's up? Good morning, Danny.
Another West Coast
Yeah,
guy.
he's talking more about his interview skills than his coaching skills. But
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Raj, I'll hold your question until we get to. Well, no, we're talking about the Philly.
We're in East. That's fine.
I would have told you were crazy when they were down 21-0, but after that comeback and look, am I right? They only have maybe one tough team left on their schedule.
I can tell you quickly. I think that is probably right. I mean, they need to run the table, probably. They have. Well, they got the Lions this week, so that's tough.
Right.
Lions, Vikings, Chargers, and Commander. Team formerly known as Redskins and the Giants.
Yep.
There's 3 wins in there, let's say. They win one of those tough games. They got 10 wins. Is that going to be enough? Probably.
He said not for the playoffs, though. He's saying to win the NFC East.
Oh, to win the East? I don't think they're winning the East. They're 2 games behind, right? It's kind of late. I mean, they run a table, then they got to hope the Eagles lose. I mean,
which
what's the Eagles?
You can't even look at the Eagles schedule. You could just say yes, they could lose.
They could
2 or 3 more, no matter who the opponent is. So
well, they got the Bill. I'm sorry. They've got the Chargers. They've got the Bills. They got the team formerly known as the Redskins twice. They could lose 2 or 3 for sure. They got the Raiders. I'm not going to count that game. That's not even a.
There's like 3 or 4 teams that just look dead in the water.
Yeah.
The Raiders are firmly in. I mean, every time Geno throws it and it doesn't go where, he has this look on his face like he has absolutely no idea what just happened. Like, where did that defender come from? Why did the pass go in that direction?
It's sad out there for sure. Back to the Cowboys for a second. I said this Sunday morning on the Big Football Show that we never talk about Brian Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer's done a really good job there, keeping that team afloat when they could have gone totally off the rails early in the season. And they didn't. I got to give him. I wasn't a big fan of the hire, quite frankly, but I think he's done a really, really good job of getting this team to this point. We'll see if he can finish that job.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. We don't, and let's be honest. Some people also said Jerry Jones, these moves were a little too late. And I think they've helped the defense. And with the way that offense operates when it's really clicking, you don't need a great defense. You just, you need at least a slow you down defense because they're going to score.
That's all.
To your original point, I don't want to step on that one. No, he's done an excellent job on a team that was dead in the water. Right, that started off by trading their best defensive player and has been working in, I mean, let's be honest, a head case with Pickens. And you see the occasional flashes of this guy's about to go a little crazy, but, I think they fed him enough, and they're a real threat. They're probably one of those teams like nothing. Now, it's the Cowboys in the playoffs. Maybe you do want to play them in the playoffs. But I know in the regular season, like I'm looking at this Detroit game, and I'm sitting here thinking, am I pick them? Do I take Dallas? Because you don't know what I'm getting from Detroit anymore. They've been susceptible in the back end for the defense. The Cowboys have the best wide receiver tandem in football right now?
Oh, I think it might be the best. I mean, I'm okay saying it's the best right now. Again, based on how they're playing today, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Pickens is a guy I'm worried about giving a big contract to, though, and
yes. You almost want to give him a year by year contract.
Yeah, he'd be better off. Yes,
with a lot of clauses. There's just several times where you still see it like they're in a hurry up. He 2-minute drill. He makes a catch, and instead of running it back to the official, he's still doing the thing, and up there, and everybody else is running. And he's like, he jaws after every single play, which okay, that's fine, but I don't think he cares if they're up 20, down 20.
It's fine, but you got to understand the game situation as well. Like you said, if the clock's running down on you, you got one job: give the ball to the referee and run back to the line of scrimmage. Right? I mean, that's all. That's all you should be thinking about.
Yeah. So. But they work well together, so I get it. I said the favorite Raiders. I still don't understand how that happened. Like you want to talk about the NFL not making sense, that's one of them. So
Danny's got to get on my Patriots a little bit, but that was a different team and a different time. That was almost like a different season. It feels like
it was. Jerry's line of Brian. Yeah, I am. Jerry's been quiet. He made some trades and stepped out of the limelight. So
yeah,
maybe that's. We've always said that the one constant between the Cowboys over the years and all this losing is Jerry Jones. He never points the finger at himself though. It's always somebody else. But at some point, sit back. Danny said he don't like me.
It's not you. Don't take it personally. It's Bam. I think it's a race between Bam and Miami, who he hates more. So.
Yeah, Danny, I just appreciate you tuning in, man. I love it either way.
Well, he's a UCLA fan, so he's got really nothing to do against everybody else, you know. So
he's a UCLA fan.
Yeah, so we got to cut him some slack. It's a bad time for him.
I apologize, Danny. I know it's tough. It is tough. Yeah, incentive base for Pickens would be funny. Like I said, talented wide receiver, one of the best in the game, but you just never know. And Pittsburgh receivers who are head cases who leave typically do worse after they go. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, I know, Dan. I don't take it personally. Like I said, I'm smiling and I appreciate you being here. Honestly, 1,000%. So trust me, no, we're so good. All right, on the flip side of that, they always say it so quickly. Is the Chiefs dynasty done? Is it?
Listen, I felt like we've talked about this for like every year since they first won a Super Bowl, right? Chiefs are done.
True.
And I'm not willing to write them off, but this is as close as they've come to the precipice. I mean, they're 6-6. They're 2 games, I think, behind a playoff spot right now. There is no room for error.
They're the 10 seed right now. Yep.
Right? Yeah. But I think all the teams ahead of the teams that are in today are 2 games ahead of them, I believe, for the wild card spots. They're not winning that division for sure. They've got to win out, and I'm not going to count them out. They've got the best coach in football in my mind, and then still one of the best quarterbacks. I don't know what's missing. I really felt, and I heard a lot of people, express the same sentiment, that once they got healthy and once they got Rice back, that they'd start.
That's what I thought.
Right, and they just haven't really done it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's missing. Something seems to be missing there. People want to talk about Kelsey being old. He seems to have played fine to me. There's something else missing. I don't know what it is. But I'm not going to count this team out just because we've counted them out before, and they've gone 2 Super Bowls and either won them or, finished second. Yeah. So. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. It is a weird situation. I'm one of those, I think picked up Rice too in fantasy or had him stashed. First game back, I think it was good. It seemed like they righted the ship, and then it's just now. I guess there is some regression to the mean from as far as last year you were excellent in 1-score games, and this year they're slipping away. You can't rely on that year by year. But when I have Mahomes as a quarterback, I think sometimes that's the strategy. Look, keep it close. And we'll win in the fourth quarter. And this year, that's just not happening. Or teams are getting that extra cushion, like Dallas putting an extra score up in the fourth quarter to make sure, okay, no comeback here. It feels like you said, they're a play or 2 away every game. But last year, where they were making that play, this year it's just not coming together. It's just
last 5-6 years, Herb. That's been I guess to piggyback on your one score game comment, it's end of game situations where they have always excelled, right? And they have not excelled in that situation except for maybe 1 or 2 games this year. So,
and I don't think they're going anywhere permanently. I love that, especially as Alabama fan. Everybody always says, "Is this dead? Is that dead?" Everybody likes dynasties to die, but I think if you count out the Chiefs long term, because let's be honest. The Broncos, even with their record, don't look like world beaters. It looks like if the Broncos said, hey, if you're going to score 17, we're going to score 20. That's the kind of team I think the Broncos are all year. So I don't know how hard that'll be to sustain. Bo Nix has to get a little bit more, consistent.
Agreed.
And the Chargers are so beat up to where you're like, I think the Chiefs come back. But, and they're probably still a team that doesn't want to – that you want to play.
The momentum is for Jack Hirsch. Jack, if you're watching, momentum's a real thing. Yes.
offensive line, yeah. But even then, yeah, and I think the problem, they haven't run the ball consistently, felt like, for years. It was just like kind of token running. But it's like you said, Kelsey looks fine. The receivers are getting back healthy and there, and Mahomes, it's just
Pacheco has been a big loss. I don't know how much he's played. As I say it, I don't think he's played a lot. I think he's been hurt a lot again this year, and they missed him a lot. I think it's a running game that maybe hurting them. We talk about this being a passing league, but you still have to run the football with some modicum of success to succeed in this league. And I think that's one of the things that's really hurting them, even overall, and then maybe even in those end of game situations. I don't think Mahomes has lost anything. I mean, he's still as good as he was. Somebody put up the offensive line. Offensive lines are a problem all over the league, except for a handful of teams. So that's probably the biggest factor that they're hurting with, that offensive line, which has been a problem for a couple of years, and the running game.
And I think that is one of those, like you said, it's a passing league. We kind of ignore the 3rd and 1 situations, the goal line situations. These teams that are passing leagues, I mean, we saw it. I mean, let's be honest, Miami and Tua, sometimes if A-Chain, like Hill said, A-Chain's not that big of a back. When you get down in there and the field shrinks so much, you can't spread them out with 4 or 5 wide and try to, fool them like that. The field is just so much shorter. So I think we've stopped putting a premium on backs, and I get it. Some of the best teams in the league are still doing the 2-back system, which works. But the Chiefs seem like they have 1.5 at times, with Pacheco kind of being in there and out there. And it seems like a position they haven't really put a premium on. So.
Yeah. I think teams forget about the running game too much. I think it was a Colt game I was watching because I bet the Colts. I think I was watching Sunday, and they had a late game situation, 4th and 1. You got the best running back in football, and you don't give him the ball 4th and 1. You let Daniel Jones, who's had a very good year, don't get me wrong. There's no way you ought to be putting the ball in Daniel Jones' hand in that situation. It's got to be in Jonathan Taylor's hands.
Yeah.
And teams don't do that. Similar to what we talked about with the Eagles. Man, have a plan.
Yeah. I think that, and Danny, we'll get your question after the break. We'll have to stop here in a minute. No, I think that's an excellent point. Honestly, too, I've said this for a long time. I think offensive coordinators sometimes try to show you how smart they are and draw up stuff. And sometimes the simplest, solution is the best solution. We had my Lane Kiffin story when he was here, and we had Derrick Henry. And I think Lane wanted to throw the ball over the yard. And this is what I don't have inside sources, but this is what I see from the outside. Saban chewed him out like, we need to run the ball. Yeah. So he thought, well, I'm just going to run him into the ground, and when it fails, then I'll get to throw again. He didn't realize Derrick Henry can take, 200, 300 carries, and he ran it all the way to a Heisman. And Lane was like, what just happened? But sometimes, hey, I've got a great back. I need a yard. He's been great all game and all season. Are we thinking in the crucial moments, this is not the guy to get it done? And he's like you said, Daniel Jones, like, are we going to trust Daniel Jones long-term anyway? And now he's also playing hurt. Give the ball to your back. The guy who is in the MVP conversation.
You don't have to be the smartest guy to win. Just make the right, just make the smart call. That's all.
Good morning.
I know you got a break. You talked about the Lions a little while ago. And since Campbell's taken over the play calling duties, it feels like he's got to show he's smarter than Ben Johnson. He's calling nutty plays out there that he doesn't need to call. He's got enough talent on that offense to just run your offense and not get so cute,
Yes, I agree. With that being said, we have to say goodbye to our radio audience. If you're tuning in from 97.3 ICU Radio, stay tuned for some smooth jazz heading your way. Or you can switch over to YouTube at Football Talk to catch the second half of the show, where we're going to start off with Danny's question. That's a pretty good question. We'll start there and we'll keep moving on. So appreciate everybody. For those of us stepping in or staying with us, this was a very interesting question. And we still have a lot of stuff to cover, so I won't go along, but I did like this question. 3 teams in each conference. Eye test.
He said, I'll be quiet.
No.
Thanks, Danny.
I mean, eye test in the AFC. I might go Patriots still because after that loss to Raiders, they seem consistent and know what they have a good 2-back system, good wide receivers, and great decision making, by the quarterback. So I like them. Everybody else, I just don't know. Even the Broncos just seem like they could win or lose no matter what team you put them up against because Nick's is just inconsistent. The offense is inconsistent. Love the defense, but I'm going to almost put Patriots and then everybody else. And Danny says he still loves you.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you, Danny.
What do you think, AFC-wise? What are you thinking?
I'm with you.
We got – what's up, Bo? There really is a lot of weird
Bo checking in to make sure we're doing okay?
Yes. Somebody texted him and said, Herb is no Bo, and he's, oh, God, I got to tune into the show.
I agree with you, and it's not, I'm not a homer when it comes to my teams. Danny can tell you I don't wear rose-colored glasses. I'm very tough on my teams. But I might be a little bit over enthusiastic about this team just because we've been bad for too long now. But this team looks for real, especially when you look at the competition, as you mentioned, in the AFC. Nobody else has been consistent. I think the Patriots still as good a bet to come out of this conference as anybody with the eye test.
I agree.
Again, they've gone to Buffalo and won. They've gone to Tampa and won. Everybody talks about the schedule, right? You can only play the schedule they give you. It's not college. So I like what they've done. They beat a decent Panther team by 30. They're beating teams by 20, 30. The teams that they were on eye level with last year, they're beating by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
The eye test is there for the Patriots for me. The Bills, I think, are still to be reckoned with, I think. If I had to put a second team in there, and I guess if I had to take another one, it'd be reluctantly the Chargers, only because they're hot and they're finding ways to win, which is important. And I'll give you a team. The Chargers I wouldn't count out as they get closer and closer to playoff time. They got to be more consistent.
I think the injuries are going to catch up to them, though. I think really the Chargers. The line was already banged up, and now Herbert's banged up. They just feel like that team that's a decent regular season, but everything's going to fall apart. Playoff wise is the reason why I say that. But
I thought the Ravens would get in this conversation once Lamar got back and got healthy. But
I did too.
After last week's performance, I can't show any confidence in that team.
No, and I knew that's why and they're the only division leader that you might have predicted at this point. I don't think there's many of us who would have said Patriots, Colts, Broncos as all three. You might have picked one of those, but not all three. But then you go to the Ravens. You're like, oh, Ravens will lead in the division this time. You're like, oh, yeah. At 6-6, you're like, whoa, wait, what? What?
Look, as a Patriot fan, I thought 9 wins was a high watermark and challenging for a playoff position. So quite frankly, they lost to 2 of the teams I thought they would have beat in those 9 wins. So
right. The NFL makes no sense this year.
No.
But okay. And that was actually one of our subjects. So thank you, Keith. Patriots looking real. So over on the NFC, I kind of like not this last game notwithstanding what I see from the Rams. Sometimes what I see from the Seahawks. And weirdly enough, what I see from a super banged up 49ers, which is one of our topics here, the NFC West being the toughest division in the NFL.
Tough.
I don't feel like any of those teams are going to be an easy out for anybody. But the rest of the league, I mean, Tampa Bay's too banged up, I think, to make a serious run, and they might actually get caught by the Panthers. Which I love Bryce Young, but Bryce Young seems to live for fourth quarters and big throws, and he might have 150 yards passing and a win, but 75 of those are in the fourth quarter and big plays. So it's always interesting playing the Panthers.
Yeah.
We've talked about the East. Don't really know what's going on with Philly. Don't see them as a contender. So I did Detroit. I can't tell what's going on at times. The defense seems like it's regressed a little bit. The offense isn't as consistent. So I think I might stay in the NFC West.
I don't know if I can put up an argument against that. I wasn't big on this 49er team to start the season, but they're just finding ways to win games. with a lot of injuries and new faces. Shanahan's, I think, doesn't get his due as a coach. I think he's done very well. With that said, I like the Seahawks. So, I like the Rams a lot. Both of them are playing good football, good defensive football, which is important once you get to playoff time. It's hard to have any faith in the Eagles, as we talked about already. The Bears, I like. I've defended them a lot.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah,
I've defended them a lot. I mean, they've got 9 wins, but come playoff time, what Caleb Williams are you going to get in his first taste on that big stage? So you're going to have a lot of confidence in them. I'm not so sure. I'm sticking with the West, and I'll throw the Bears in there as a wild card, which will probably drive Danny up the wall. But I think Caleb Williams has gotten a bad rap. I think young quarterbacks as a whole aren't given a chance today, right, to grow, because we always judge them on what they did in their last game, whether it's good or bad. We have an overreaction, and Caleb Williams is a perfect example of that. I know one of the topics, and we can get into it later, was another guy that isn't going to get a chance maybe to just grow the way quarterbacks used to be able to grow, because we rate them every week, So,
no, I agree with you, and I know you're talking about Shedeur. We do have a thing up for him, but we've talked about it several times in this program. It used to be you draft a quarterback, you let him sit for a year, maybe 2 if you were lucky, then you threw him out there and you saw what happens. Now we're like, hey, I need my return on investment early, so I'm going to throw you out in the first year, sometimes without a good line, sometimes without a great wide receiver to throw to, and we'll just hope you get better. And then we'll just, look at what's happening with Cam Ward. That is a terrible team. And they're just like, his decision-making looks bad. Yeah, because every time he falls back, he thinks I might be running for my life.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Cam Ward, you probably saw way more of him last year. I'm not for or against, but his best situation would have been to sit this first year.
Yeah, without a doubt. He's still, I've watched, I haven't seen a lot of Titans games, but when I'm out and I'm on one of the TVs I've watched, and I see a lot of the same stuff. The mistakes he was making in college, holding the ball too long, trying to force the ball in places. You could do that in college, right? And he was a great college quarterback. I always had concerns whether he would translate on this level, and be a top quarterback. But give him time. I mean, I'm not writing him off. I'm not really writing off guys in their first couple of years. We're writing off J.J. McCarthy. He's played like 5 full games of football. I mean, come on. We got to give the kid a chance to learn the league and learn. It's a lot. It's a lot today.
Yeah. I think if those 4th and 5th year options come up quick, they don't want to do like the Caleb Love thing anymore, where you sit like 3 years and then we have to basically evaluate you off of 1 year in pay, which I get, but you also don't have to send them out day one, especially for a team that's not ready. And that's the thing. These teams that are drafting 1st, 2nd, 3rd, you don't have a team around them at all.
Right.
So
some guys are ready, right? CJ Stroud was and it depends on the situation that they're in, right? CJ Stroud found himself in a really good situation to have a really good rookie year and lead his team to playoffs. That doesn't happen to everybody. You're not all in that perfect situation. And we're too quick to write guys off and throw guys into the wolves. And and I think there's probably really good guys who would have been good quarterbacks, and we'll never know because they got thrown to the wolves too early and, just beat up their confidence and whatever else.
Yeah. Like every quarterback that goes to the Jets and does well other places because you guys are terrible. And then they also don't do much on the development side at all either. So that doesn't help.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that your draft, you could also say that about Cam Ward and maybe not have been a number 1 overall, except for the year he got drafted, So
Danny knows very well that I say that about quarterbacks in general. Way too many guys are overdrafted because teams are reaching and they feel they got to find a quarterback early. And again, there's numbers, and I won't bore you with them, but you can go back to when the common draft started in the 60s, and like 8% of those quarterbacks picked in the top 10, actually it might be the first round, ever win a Super Bowl, like 8%.
Yeah.
Why is anybody doing this? I understand you get a guy you just can't pass on, but it'll happen again this year. Somebody will reach for a quarterback at number 1.
Yeah.
So
Nick, I think part of the problem with the Bryce situation is they traded so much to get him that like he didn't have a wide receiver to throw to. They threw him in there, yanked him back out. It's kind of like with Anthony Richardson. I know those two different ones, but I think they mismanaged certain situations with guys. You know, you don't if you're gonna throw that quarterback out there the first year, the worst thing you can do is just yank him back out later. Especially if you don't think he's ready or the team's not ready, just sit him. You know, if you're going to be bad anyway, I think that's what they think. Oh, we're going to be bad anyway, so let's let him take his lumps. Yeah, but you affect his confidence in the way he approaches the game. We all know quarterback takes a lot of hits early. Later on, they're just like, all right, I got to get rid of this ball quick. Versus, you have good protection. Well, I can't trust that. So I'm already, the clock on my head is gone. Nothing develops. So
a lot of these guys they end up getting hated on just because of where they were picked. And, they didn't pick where they got picked because because the Giants were silly and traded up to draft Daniel Jones number 6. That's not Daniel Jones' fault. He never got a chance in New York because they're all over him, expect to be a superstar too soon. Anthony Richardson gets drafted after playing like a handful of games at Florida because he was hurt all the time. You draft these guys for athletic ability alone, and this is what's going to happen, And I saw, just real quick, I saw J-Bake one's comment about the nail polish. I don't think Caleb's worried about it. We're worried about it. I hear fans talking about it more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Not that I'm going to wear nail polish, but let him do it.
Wednesday, but you'll get Bo instead of me though, which is always an upgrade. So, but yes, every Wednesday morning.
Herb will be here, yes, right.
Yeah, but I like to hype up Bo, especially if he's listening. No, you're absolutely right. The Anthony Richardson one is one we've talked about several times. You drafted an athletic guy who was not polished, and you threw him out there the first year, and you're like, why is he still erratic? He was erratic in college in the handful of times you saw him. You thought magically, and can we stop using pro days as an evaluation? The guy works out with the same wide receiver like all year. He picks him for his pro day. He looks perfect throwing to that guy.
In shorts.
That guy doesn't even make the league. Yes, in shorts.
And a T-shirt, right?
Yep. And then you get in a real game and you're just like, what's happening now? Why isn't he any good? Well, because you just took him straight from that and threw him out there, and it was no good. I'm not going to say Anthony Richardson would ever been a great quarterback or terrible, but the situation he was put into was never going to lead to great development. 2
or 3 years or
that's
4
a good
years,
one too. Yeah.
Or 5 years. That's a great example Danny has there, right? Some guys, Daniel Jones,
yes, he is.
Darnold, Geno Smith, later on, after you've given up on them, they find their way to a good situation, and you find out they can play the game, right? But some guys, not everybody's going to be Tom Brady or, Joe Montana was not a system quarterback. I don't care what people want to say, nor was Tom Brady. Not everybody can just go in there and just make everybody better around them, right? They need to have a good situation, and you got to find your way into it. Sam Darnold did last year, and he's got one this year, I think. And Daniel Jones is another great example. Geno, as we said. Jim Plunkett years ago. I was going to bring up Jim Plunkett. Years and years and years ago, Jim Plunkett was really a bust as a number 1 pick. And 10 years later, after getting beat up, he finds his way to the Raiders, sits around for a year and a half, and then he wins 2 Super Bowls. Yeah.
It's amazing that we have all these examples and we still ignore them year after year. Your situation makes what your guy's going to be,
100%.
So, all right, we're going to shift gears a little bit because this was a fun story that Bo did leave for us.
Being kneed in my stomach, and then just drawing back and forth, and then ticked off the entire game because as a quarterback they're protected, but I'm not. It just pisses me off.
You're saying he kneed you or
yes,
someone else?
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Did he cross the line throughout the game, or was it that one incident?
That was that one incident.
Was that on purpose by him?
Yes. He even said after, I had to do something to get you off me.
I have not seen this story or heard this. This is comical to me in a way.
I hadn't either until Bo lit up. Just full disclosure.
I mean, I get some of these defensive guys' frustration with quarterbacks, being protected in the way that they are in some cases. But you're going to sit there as a macho giant defensive player and talk about the quarterback need me in the stomach?
Yeah. when I first read it too, I was like, "Need you where?" And I was like, "Oh, stomach." I thought this was going to be
something else. Would have been a bigger.
Yeah, you know. So no, I'm with you. You just would have never got that story. Or just, I feel like it's more frustration with the way the team is playing, and I'm just upset. Like I'm a very competitive person, and whenever I was playing after a loss, I probably said the whiniest. I had an opponent come up, so I was complaining all day. We were getting beat, and it was soccer. We were getting beat, and I was just sitting there whining to the rest the whole game. And this guy's pushing and shoving. The guy was a super nice guy. Comes up to me after the game, "Hey man, I'm sorry about it." I said, "No man, I was just losing. I was just whining. You were fine." I said, I was just crying. Don't listen to anything I have to say after a loss. I feel like that's one of those situations, but I'm with you. I never would have said it.
Bad look for a defensive guy to be whining like that. It's not.
Yes.
And that's just my opinion. Sorry, Steeler fans.
No,
I know you like me.
You're right. Especially as billed as a physical team, you should never come out and admit anything like that. I would think.
Just shut up. Go win the games. Shut up about it's football. By the way, stuff happens.
Yes. Now the other dirty stuff that y'all are talking about that's happened in the past couple of weeks. Okay. That one, I was like, come on, man, just go hit him harder next time. So you'll be fine. But he did lead into another Bo clip that he left us with another quarterback.
Bo's on vacation. We got all these clips. It's amazing. Yes. He's the best.
Just asking you about the hits, taking them, protecting yourself, and things like that.
No. Look, I understand the question, but this is football. I'm gonna get hit if I'm in the pocket or outside the pocket. I feel like I've played this way my whole entire life. It shouldn't be any shocker to anybody if you've followed along with my career. And we're not playing soccer out here. You're gonna get hit. Things happen. It's just part of the game.
That's a great comparison with the quarterback talking and the defensive guy talking. It's interesting. A couple things on that. Jackson Dart, I love his toughness. I love it. It's going to get him killed if he doesn't change it.
Yeah, Danny.
Right? He's got to change the way that he approaches those situations. The hit was a clean hit. I mean, I heard stuff.
It was.
There was nothing wrong with it. And by the way, I also have mad respect for the who came to his defense. It was a tight end, I think, came to his defense and got the personal foul. And mad respect to him, too. Protect your quarterback. But I get it. The guy was a clean hit, but I get it. You want to send a message. Don't be hitting my quarterback like that.
Thanks, Raj. Yep. But I will say this. I couldn't disagree with him more that he's got to protect himself. You are not trying to get through 2 or 3 years of college anymore. They have picked you in the first round to be a franchise quarterback. The difference in stepping out there, right there, and gaining 1 more yard was nothing. You didn't get the first down anyway. So step out 1 yard sooner. Don't take that. Like you said, absolute clean. He even led with the shoulder and everything. And your foot was still in bounds. You don't need to take – and I always say, you get hit hard in the pocket and stuff. You weren't in the pocket. You were in a position where you are the most protected player on the field. Any move that you make to not get hit, the other guy's getting a penalty. So you have to protect yourself.
Yeah, I agree with it.
He does, Andy. You're right.
Oh, by the way, so do I. So I have this theory that soccer is the ruination of this country and made us soft. And I have another word I use, but I won't use it here. I agree. I have soccer fans sending me dirty letters all the time. They don't, but I make it up.
Well, we grew up on soccer, so I have respect.
I know. I feel bad for you younger guys had to have that forced down your throat. My granddaughter, I told them, I tell her all the time, she's 3. I'm like, do not kick the ball. Pick it up and throw it to Papa. Do not kick the ball to Papa, ever.
But yeah, and then Jackson Dart, you've got to protect yourself. You've got way more battles to fight.
My comments were, I respect his toughness. I expect the way he wants to play the game. You can't play the game that way though. Not last.
No. And I think the difference is he talks about you've played it all year. Yeah, well, in college, half those guys, 90% of those guys that are hitting you, this might be the last hit they ever do. Yeah. Versus you get to the NFL and guess what? The guy on the bench that you think is a scrub was like an All-American linebacker.
They all hit this way, right? Yeah.
Yes. So and will totally clean your clock. So
the game's faster, and the things that he could get away with, he's not going to get away with here. At the end of those plays, he's always going to get hit like that. If he doesn't get down. Tough kid, though. I'll tell you. I love the way. I love that he wants to play that way. I just know he can't.
Yeah, and and you are absolutely right. I don't want that to get lost in there. He is a tough kid. He does look like he could be their franchise guy, and you want that toughness from your quarterback. I get it, but take the Patrick Mahomes thing that everybody hates and step out 1 yard earlier and get to 15 yards. Do that part. So let's get Bo's thing up the hair. If you're in the Seattle area, use the QR code on the screen for a free 5-day pass at any of the 3 True Fusion Gym locations: Bellevue, Ballard, and University Village. I could clearly use some of that myself. I'm getting the dad bod without kids going on here. Pilates, boot camp, yoga bar, and more. Find your edge at True Fusion Gym.
Yeah, too much snow. I can't get there. Too much snow.
That's the excuses we're using. Yes. Yeah, Scatterboo's not going to last.
Another guy. I love that he wants to play that way, right? But, it's going to be hard to stick around.
I agree. Another guy who's having, not trouble sticking around, but just showing up, Abdul Carter, with two semi-suspensions, I guess I want to call them, already this year. How do you miss a series because you're just late to stuff, And as a rookie, I get it. In college, I get way more distractions, class, all this stuff. In the pros, they're paying you, and this is your job. Just be there. Especially for the money that you make to be there. Just show up. That's all we're asking sometimes.
It's not. Yeah, I don't know what his transgression was this time. I mean, all that Kafka said that I heard was his coach's decision. Maybe there's more to the story that I haven't heard.
He said late to a meeting or a walkthrough?
So same thing as the first time, right?
Yeah, same thing as the first time.
Yeah,
I think the first time he said he was getting treatment, but they didn't know about it or something. But this time it was just a meeting.
It's not hard, as you said. It's one of the easiest things to do is to show up someplace. You don't have anything else to do. That's your job. People get fired for not showing up to meetings, and he's lucky he's only got this. And I'm not a Giant fan in any way, shape, or form, obviously, for several reasons.
Exactly.
But this guy wanted to wear LT's number.
And let's talk. I missed this part of this. So Bo told me to leave this one till the second half, and I guess I missed this part. But that's wild too, as well.
Is that? That's.
They said Abdul Carter, so that might be the part of the story.
Watching porn in the.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I mean, some of these guys. What are they thinking about? Nothing, obviously. I hadn't heard that part of the story at all. So.
Oh, that's because they say it might have been a fake story. So
yeah.
I don't know about that part. We'll keep looking, but
whatever the reason, though, right? Herb, whatever the reason, man, don't waste your talent, right? Gosh,
at all. And that is true, Danny. I always just feel like within college, you still have other stuff going on. I guess with you're still younger, and but you're absolutely right on that one. But in the pros, you don't even have the other stuff. There's no other classes to go to. This is you sign up for this, you get paid millions, and that the story before that part of the blurb was that he just missed. He was late to a meeting, and this is the second time it's happened. Like, you're still in your rookie year. You do not want this to be, because you know how that is, right? As soon as that becomes the story about you, that's the story for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So,
especially when you do it twice in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I like that they did this because, I mean, this is a new era for the Giants. The coaches got fired. You're basically auditioning for the job, right? Put some discipline on it. You have nothing else to lose. It's not like when you're having that winning season, that Super Bowl season, you have to put up with the guy who's malcontent, but you just have to put up with him for the AJ Browns of the world. You can't really do anything because you need him. Carter, if he wants to ruin his first season, that's on him.
Well, Kafka obviously wants to be a candidate for this job. I mean, he's been talked about for head coaching before, and
right.
he's got to make that type of move, or he's got no shot, right?
Yep, absolutely. All right, so we'll get his last little one in. I think we've got a couple minutes. One of Bo's last clips that he sent for us today.
I think those 2 4th and 1s that didn't work. And did you like Kevin having the aggressiveness there, even backed up in your territory?
I mean, first, that's a rude question to ask. If I think, it was a great call by my coach,
Like the aggression. Do you like the call? Do you like?
I like being out there playing. so whatever that comes with, it comes with. We're not gonna be here and ever point finger at no coach or do anything like that.
I will be 100% behind Shedeur on that. That he was getting baited there and he didn't fall for it. And he's right to call the guy out. That guy only wanted a story, right? He wanted to bait him into saying something about the coaching staff, and he wasn't going to get it. He showed me he's got some smarts there. So
yeah.
I mean,
I definitely saw where it could have been read both ways, but I think that's a great point on it. Especially because of Shedeur. Had he called out the coaching staff,
that has been a story.
That
would have been huge news.
Yeah.
Immature Shedeur, calls out coaching staff.
Yeah. Hey, have you ever seen a more scrutinized 5th round pick?
No.
Ever?
No. I mean, again, well, we may never know how good he could or won't be, because he's going to be, like I talked about before, we're scrutinize every move he makes, and he's got no chance to grow. And this coaching staff's playing him only because I think they have to. I mean, if you want to be the coach of that team, you probably ought to sign on to Shedeur Sanders being your quarterback, because that's what the owner wants. So if I don't think Kevin Stefanski's keeping his job, but if he wants to, he's going to play him.
Do that. Yeah.
And whoever comes in here is going to say, I love his potential.
And I could name any 5th round draft picks any other time. I also want to say this. I've never seen a 5th round draft pick talked about more than the 3rd round draft pick that was put in and should be the starter. And whenever I say should be the starter, that's not based on a talent thing. That's based on a draft board thing. If I draft a guy at 3rd and he's ready to go back in, that's the guy I should be evaluating. I've got more invested in him than the 5th. It has nothing to do with anything else. And people make it like a Shedeur versus Gabriel thing. I'm trying to make it into a 3rd round versus 5th round thing. You should have never drafted 2 quarterbacks and carried 2 rookie quarterbacks going into the year with Joe Flacco at age 57, who was not going to finish the whole year. Like, they've messed up this whole situation, and now Shedeur Sanders has become a lightning rod for everything right and wrong with the team, when that should never be the case.
100%. And the part about him talking a lot, Shedeur doesn't talk a lot. I don't think Shedeur talks a lot. It's his biggest problem is his dad has gotten in his way and said things like, we're not going to go play here. Shedeur never said this stuff. His father says it all. Now, he does some immature stuff. Don't get me wrong. Some of the things he did when he was interviewing with teams wasn't good, but he's a kid too. I think if his name was anything else except Sanders, he'd be looked at totally differently. And, it's unfair to him. And I don't know whether he'll be good or bad. I have a sense that he's given a chance to grow. He can be a productive player in this league. I don't think he'll be a great player, but I think he'll be a productive player. He'll probably never get that chance because of the scrutiny.
No, he never will. And let's just be honest. The organization he was drafted to is just terrible. So that's, the way they do quarterbacks is always going to be bad.
It is crazy.
Which is sad too, because they're in a very winnable division, and they've punted one of the best, years ever by defense and by a defensive player by still not having a clue on offense. So the Ravens look terrible and are in front in the division at 6-6, and Pittsburgh is looking terrible and is right there as well. And now the Bengals could make a run with Burrow back. So anyway, appreciate. See, look, Daddy loves you.
Danny's the best. Danny gets up at 5 a.m. to watch some of my shows, for crying out loud, out there in the West Coast. Good for him.
Appreciate you, Danny. All right, we're I think Coast to Coast is coming up next. We'll be back with you next week. Appreciate everybody showing up. Keith, thank you for filling in, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I had a blast. Anytime. I'm happy to help out.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a great morning. And I gotta say it. Roll Tide.